the concept of time, and the constellation Horologium Oscillatorium. Do you think you know what time is? Of course, you may say, and glancing at your watch you will add, "My watch tells me the time," and then rather proudly, "and the date." But if you ask an astrologer, he will say, "Which time do you mean? Sidereal time or tropical time?" See our video on Capricorn for an explanation. And if you ask someone from the Orthodox Church, he may say Julian calendar or Gregorian calendar. Wikipedia defines time as the continued sequence of existence and events that occurs in an apparently irreversible succession from the past through the present into the future. It is a component quantity of various measurements used to sequence events, to compare the duration of events or the intervals between them, and to quantify rates of change of quantities in material reality or in the conscious experience. Time is often referred to as a fourth dimension, along with three spatial dimensions. After this, it then delivers a bombshell of a paragraph, carefully hidden in a sentence on general relativity. In general relativity, the question of what time it is now only has meaning relative to a particular observer. So, time is dependent on who is doing the observing and where they are in the three dimensions of space. It is not absolute. And general relativity does not address the nature of time for extremely small intervals where quantum mechanics holds. Days of the week. The days. Both the concept of a day and that of a week are relative. For example, if we look at a day, Jeff Mayo, Astrology, a day is the period of the Earth's rotation on its axis. It may be measured with respect to the stars, the sidereal day, the true sun, the apparent solar day, or the mean sun, the mean solar day. Apparent solar day, sundial time. The apparent sun is the sun as seen by an observer on Earth. The apparent solar day is then the interval between two successive returns of the sun to the local meridian. Note that meridian in this context means an imaginary line between the North Pole and the South Pole. The length of a solar day varies throughout the year because of the Earth's angle to the Sun. And the accumulated effect produces seasonal deviations of up to 16 minutes from the mean. Apparent solar days are shorter than the mean in March and September than in June or December. This means a sundial, the apparent time, will not give you the time on your watch, the mean time. The mean solar day. Wikipedia. As of 2009, mean solar time is realized with the universal time scale, constructed mathematically from very long baseline interferometry observations of the diurnal motions of radio sources located in other galaxies. The duration of daylight varies during the year, but the length of a mean solar day is nearly constant, unlike that of the apparent solar day from a sundial. An apparent solar day A sundial like this in Jaipur, India, can be 20 seconds shorter or 30 seconds longer than a mean solar day, the watch. So don't adjust your watch according to a sundial. Conceptually, universal time is the rotation of the Earth with respect to the Sun. However, the version in common use since 1955 uses a slightly different definition of rotation that corrects for the motion of Earth's poles as it rotates. With us so far? And this is Lewis Carroll's sundial, gyring and gimbling in the wave. I hope that you can see that even something as apparently simple as a day is actually very difficult to measure, because we need another something in the sky to use as our static, stable baseline, because our measurements will always be relative to something else. The time we use is simply a number that we can use to coordinate our actions. But actually, time, using materialistic measures, has no existence. Days of the week. The nature of the thing we call time can be shown to be even more artificial when we consider the days of the week. Jeff Mayo, Astrology. The next unit of time is the week, which, with its 7 days, comes to us from ancient Babylonia. The name of the days can be traced back to the planetary gods. So we have, for example, Monday, from the Old English Moon's Day, Dutch Maandag, German Montag, French Lundi, Lune equals the moon. Tuesday, from Old English Tuesdag, meaning Tuesday, the god of single combat law and justice in Norse mythology. 2 was equated with Mars, hence French Mardi. Wednesday, from Old English Woensdag, day of Woden, the English equivalent to the Norse god Odin. Woden or Odin was also Mercury, hence in French Mercredi. Thursday, from Old English meaning Thor's Day, the Norse god of thunder. In German it is Donnerstag. Thor was the Roman god Jupiter, hence French Jeudi. Friday, Old English Freitag, the day of Frigg. Freitag in German and Freitag in Dutch. The goddess Frigg was Venus, hence Vendredi in French. Saturday. The Romans named Saturday Dies Saturni, Saturn's Day, for the planet Saturn. Modern Dutch, Zaterdag, and it was adopted simply because no equivalent Norse god existed. Sunday. Old English Zondag, Sun's Day. Dutch Sondag, German Sonntag, in Latin Dies Dominica, French Dimanche. As such, the days of the week are simply the names of gods, which is fine if you need a name to help you coordinate your cooperation, but it isn't really time. What about carbon or radiometric dating? Maybe we can use an entirely Earth-based system to date things and measure time. But it seems there are problems here. Wikipedia. The precision of a dating method depends in part on the half-life of the radioactive isotope involved. For instance, carbon-14 has a half-life of 5,730 years. After an organism has been dead for 60,000 years, so little carbon-14 is left that accurate dating cannot be established. And according to the Smithsonian magazine, July the 27th, 2015, climate change and nuclear accidents has already meant that the carbon-14 tests are unreliable. Maris Fessenden. Fossil fuel emissions mess with the ratio of carbon isotopes in the atmosphere. The fossil fuels that humans are burning and the subsequent carbon dioxide they are releasing skew the radiocarbon age. Fossil fuels come from old organic material that has already depleted its carbon-14, and as a result, new organic material appears older than it is. New carbon-14 is created by cosmic rays bombarding the atmosphere, but that process isn't keeping up with emissions. With fossil fuel emissions increasing at current rates, within the next 20 to 30 years, it will be difficult to distinguish newly produced materials from historical artifacts several hundred years old, using radiocarbon dating techniques. We could continue, but I hope the point has been made. We actually have no way of measuring time, past or present, materially. And Salvador Dali knew this. Time is relative to an observer. Every attempt to measure time using something else, the planets or other materials, fails. Horologium Oscillatorium, the pendulum clock. Despite the fact time, materially measured, is an illusion, improvements in its measurement have still been celebrated using constellations, and this is Horologium Oscillatorium. This constellation was added by Langdon, a theological scientist, in 1752, to honour Christian Huygens, who invented the first pendulum clock in 1656, considered a major advance for its day. But in Greek mythology, the horai, the hours, after which the constellation is named, were goddesses of time, and they were goddesses of logical dependency, not clocks. Those embodiments of the right moment, the rightness of order unfolding. And the subtlety of this phrasing has been missed, because it meant the unfolding of cause and effect, the logical sequence in which things follow one another, the system. It is why they also represent the seasons, natural order, the systems of the universe, natural law. The ancient Greeks did not have hours of fixed length like we do today, a modern dial adjusted for angle of sun. Instead, they divided the hours of daylight into 12 equal portions. Thus the length of their hours varied between the longer days of summer and shorter ones of winter. But note, there is very significant positioning of this constellation. Horologium Oscillatorium is at the mouth of the river Eridanus. Hydrus the water snake is nearby, and the fish constellation Dorado is also near. In other words, it is connected to the spirit world symbolically, because water is spirit. The loom. We experience time just as we experience red. My red isn't your red. You are not experiencing redness as I am. I may be able to tell you something is red. We can work together and cooperate on that basis. But you will never know how much I experience redness. And so it is with time. Time is our experience of the cause-effect workings of the systems of the universe. Perceptions and memory are not the same thing. Memory is derived through learning and classifying, plus a great deal of elimination of data we either choose to ignore or simply remove unconsciously. Perceptions are more like smoke, climbing up to heaven, maybe a carpet or tightrope unfolding before us, or a scroll gradually unrolling in front of us. See our video, The Symbolism of Thoughts, Flags, Smoke and Prayers. And indeed all these symbols, smoke, flags, carpets and scrolls, have all been used to represent perceptions. More recently the symbol of the cinefilm has been used, with the proviso that this cinefilm captures all the five senses. Both the scroll and cinefilm are good symbols to use, as both imply a record of indelible experiences, and those experiences are ours, and ours only. The Omar Khayyam, the moving finger writes, and having writ, moves on. Nor all thy piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all thy tears wash out a word of it. Our perceptions are the warp thread that we explained in our video, the symbolism of the loom and weaving, tapestries, threads and carpets. So why do we persist in thinking time exists? What makes us think that there is such a thing as time? It is because of this log of perceptions. We look back through the log, so we have a concept of the past from our perspective, and we look forward by creating simulations of what might happen, creating a log of possibilities. And as we saw in the video of the symbolism of the loom, the pattern may have already been marked out very faintly for us. And this is what is termed the great work, the symbolism of which we explored in our videos of the symbolism of theatre and the order of creation of spirals, spiders and snails. And sometimes during near-death experiences, our entire life seems to get replayed in almost an instant. Again, this log is run through like a cinefilm at breakneck speed. Time is thus an illusion. Outside this realm of our own experience, there is no time. The tapestry is complete in every aspect of its design. All that is happening is that we are producing a material reality that matches what has been foreseen. And if we choose not to follow the pattern, we may simply be replaced as weavers. So our experience of time is no different to our experience of red. It is uniquely ours. You actually have no idea how this cause-effect record is experienced by me. For a dog, his lifetime may seem the same as our lifetime, relatively speaking. He might feel he has packed in a huge amount in his all too brief life. And what of an oak tree? We do not know how trees record perceptions, but let us assume they do. Remember the private life of plants, David Attenborough? When speeded up, a plant appears to live its life at a similar pace to an animal. Perhaps the tree itself experiences its life in the same way. So the time that we think is true time, recorded using a watch or other instrument, is not true time at all. True time is unique to each one of us, and that time is one only we will ever experience. Or a sage said to me, time is the most precious thing in the world. W.H. Auden. As I walked out one evening, walking down Bristol Street. As I walked out one evening, walking down Bristol Street, the crowds upon the pavement were fields of harvest wheat. And down by the brimming river I heard a lover sing. Under an arch of the railway, love has no ending. I'll love you, dear, I'll love you till China and Africa meet, and the river jumps over the mountain and the salmon sing in the street. I'll love you till the ocean is folded and hung up to dry, and the 7 stars go walking like geese about the sky. The years shall run like rabbits, for in my arms I hold the flowers of the ages and the first love of the world. But all the clocks in the city began to whir and chime. Oh, let not time deceive you. You cannot conquer time.